You're listening to Burnt, and this is episode number 2.
Hey, I'm Lauren.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and some days we're burnt out.
And some days we're burning it down. This is Burnt, a podcast where you're not going to find us reading off of a script.
These are real, unfiltered, raw conversations between two moms, two women, and all of our friends.
We got a lot of friends. And we are all fired up and ready to make some change.
We're ready to burn it down, and we want you to join us on this journey where we aren't just burning it down, but we're figuring out how to fix it and rebuild it.
Because you got to scorch a little earth, controlled burn, before something beautiful can grow.
Join us every week here for Burnt, wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. Hey, friend.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing. How are you doing?
I'm representing Chicago today.
I love it. I like that shirt. It's like Taylor Swifty meets Chicago.
And people keep messaging me asking where I got it. And it was a friend of mine from way back who had a boutique in the city. And this was just like a random, like the boutique was paper goods. It was like cards and gifts. And this was just a random thing. And when she was closing her shop, I was like, I'll take that.
So you got lucky.
I love it. We got some sparkles and Chicago. But we're wearing her a lot right now because
I love that.
Chicago is an entire vibe. I've never been prouder to be in this area.
It's funny you say that because I felt that this morning. I was emailing one of the representatives in Texas, and I feel so proud that I've lived in Texas, even though Texas is I'm saying the Dems who fled, who came back, who are fighting for Texas. And then I've also lived in Chicago, and I'm a Californian. So I'm like, yes, I picked these states that are like, Texas, not so, you know what I'm saying? Like the ones who are showing up. Yeah, the fight. These are the 3 that are fighting so hard right now. And I felt that pride of like, wow, I have lived in all of these places, and I feel like this represents me too. Yeah. Because it's a hot mess.
It sure is. I'm literally debating, am I going to go downtown to another gathering today?
I don't know how you do it. How are you juggling all of this and balancing it?
I'm not doing it very well. I think it's like adrenaline spikes up and then I crash. And I haven't figured out how to maintain in a way that is sustainable. But it's like I am all in. I am all systems go, and it's like ticking up a roller coaster. And then I like hit that peak, and then it's like, and then I crash, and I have trouble functioning, which is why I have 122 unread text messages.
I saw that. I was like, I'm in there.
Yes. Well, because like I start chipping away at it, and then like new ones come in, and but I think that like the biggest thing for me right now is trying to find that balance between motherhood and activism, and knowing that the activism is for my children. It is so that they don't have to do this kind of work. And also to protect them. And so I think on Saturday, and just for whenever this comes out, so this was Saturday, September, was that the 7th?
Yeah.
No, that was the 6th. It was the 6th. September 6th, I was sitting at my kiddo's soccer game, and I had my little like soccer mom folding chair, and I got a notification, and it was that truth from Trump that was declaring war on Chicago. And it took the air out of my lungs. And so I'm somewhere in between watching my kiddo play soccer and surrounded by all of these suburban parents who are probably not getting the same immediate notification. I'm sure that they have now they all know. But at the time, I was looking around like, am I the only one seeing this? And in that minute, I knew, okay, yeah, I'm going to a protest later. Like,
Did you
I
say
can't.
anything to the parents next to you? Because I'm the one who pops up and be like, did anybody else see this? I just got this CNN alert.
I
I will
said it.
vocalize it.
I said it to my husband. I did not say it to the mom that was sitting next to me because um, she's Hispanic and she has undocumented family, and I did not. I didn't. I was worried about the emotional weight that that might carry for her. So in that moment, I didn't say it, but I love the idea of being like, anybody else watching this, but I also am very well aware of the energy on the soccer team within the parents. I
And that's
think,
different. That's something very different too, to know that that person next to you has that and that it's personal.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I'm seeing people who, um, you and I were talking about this. Like, I don't know if you're MAGA or if you're choosing to put your head down because it's much easier than that, but pretending, because it feels to me like today you must be pretending if you don't know what's going on. If you claim to not know what the latest Supreme Court decision is, I find that funny because we all know what's going on at the Supreme Court. We do. To pretend that you don't know what the word MAGA means, that's a pretending. Like, who doesn't know that? Who does not know that?
it's. I mean, people in other countries know what that means. It's, and I think there's a difference because there are definitely people in my life who I love and admire that I know they have not been vocal because they're so terrified and they're paralyzed. And and I think that's a different thing than this like willful ignorance of not knowing. And even in the people who are saying that gun violence is not the issue, that it's mental health, and that we need the National Guard to come into cities like Chicago to stem the violence epidemic, when it has been clear for years and years, probably decades, that the solution to these issues are for gun violence prevention, it's less guns. For crime in cities, it is resources for underserved communities. And like that data is clear. And so I think it's like this willful ignorance of, I don't know what MAGA means. I don't know what the latest Supreme Court decision means. Do we have a Supreme Court? Like, what? It's a choice. They're making choices.
Yes. So I was pitched for the other show, an author and his book. I'm going to give him a shout out and hopefully he'll listen because I don't know if I'm going to have him on yet, but I was totally intrigued. His book is called Blinded by the Blatantly Obvious. The man is in his 80s. He's not a writer. He admits he's like this is not my thing, but I felt compelled to write right now. Why are people so blinded by what is blatantly obvious? And then he goes down and shares, and this is just the sample I've read. I haven't even read the book, but he shares how he grew up during the times of the Montgomery protests and that his biggest regret in his 80s is that he didn't have the courage to go participate and that he saw it going on. And that hit me so hard of, okay, what's it going to be like in 40 years from now when I look back at my life? What did I do? On top of, yeah, it's so blatantly obvious to many of us. And yet you're like, what? I don't know. But what is it that we're all doing right now in 40 years? Are we going to go, oh, yeah, maybe I should have said something?
You're
Darn.
making me cry right now.
It hit me yesterday. I was like, I don't even know this. And I'm like, I want to just finish reading the book and it's just a
Right.
sample. But it was so impactful just reading that sentence of that's my regret is that I didn't do more. I didn't have the courage, he says, to go and protest, to go sit down and be a part of these sit-ins. And I don't want to look back in 40 years from now and go, man, it's really too bad I didn't do something or say something.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm kind of taken aback at how emotional that is making me, because it it really is something that you think about. and and I feel like even the people who are doing a lot still wonder if they're doing enough.
Every day.
And yeah,
Every
every
day.
day.
I actually said that yesterday to my husband, and it was in regards to quite a few things that a teacher got flowers at school. And I said, "Oh, is it your birthday?" And she goes, "No, a kid just brought me flowers." And we walked away and I said, "Wow, I really feel like I wish I was that person who was randomly thoughtful like that." No, I'm going to cry because then we came home and our 80-something-year-old neighbor was running down the street to catch me. And she said, "We're selling our car and I signed the wrong part of the title. What do I do? How do I fix it?" And I brought her inside and I Googled it and I said, "Here's the form of the DMV. Here's what you're going to do." And she cried in my arms. She's so stressed. And then she went on her way. And my husband goes, "See, you are a good person because that's what you do." And so I feel like those of us who constantly wonder, are we doing enough? We need to stop beating ourselves up because we probably are and we just don't recognize it in ourselves.
Well, and I think that that's like part of the whole strategy that they have right now is to make us feel paralyzed, uh to make us question ourselves and to beat us down so that we are so exhausted and that it's this that fire hose of flood the zone all the time. And I think now we're 9 months into this and we're seeing the impact of the people who have been paying attention and who know what's going on, and how heavy it is getting. But we have to keep reminding ourselves that that's their goal.
Yeah.
So we need to rest and we need to encourage each other. And I actually got into kind of an intense conversation with my husband last night because I I said, you have an incredible amount of privilege, and I know what you think, and I know your values, and I know your opinions on politics, and people who are close to you know, but you're using that privilege to just like sit in that space of not stepping into it further. And so I think with whatever privilege we have, that we can use that. And so for me, that looks like using my voice because I can. It looks like showing up physically because as a white woman, I am less likely to be targeted. I am not, it is certainly not like a safe situation, but I am a whole lot less likely to be targeted than a lot of other people. So I think it's about trying to figure out what privilege do you have and how can you use that for not just an activist perspective, but like for the greater good of the community. Like how are you using your privilege for your community, for the people in your life and beyond it? So I think that's such a beautiful example that you just gave.
What was his reaction? I'm curious because I'm on social media. My husband has Facebook. That is it.
Yeah.
And that's the extent of it. I mean, I have all of these platforms that I feel like are tools and enable me to be able to speak out more. I am like a kind cotton like supporter where I am a billboard, he says. I am a walking billboard for human rights and I will let you know where I stand based on my shirt. But he's like, he supports me in doing it because he knows this is what has to be done. But he's also said, he's like, I'm on Facebook and I see these comments. And so I'm giving them the middle finger and I'm going at it with them. I'm like, this is funny.
That is really funny.
But he
Yeah.
doesn't post, but he will go and comment and reply. And that's how he's showing up. And then if I'm like, there's a protest downtown, let's do a drive by because the children are in the car. We have to go from soccer to soccer, but let's just go and honk and support. He's like, I'm there. Can't find a parking spot.
I love it. That's amazing. No, I think it's funny to see the way that I think that men in our lives are are definitely seeing us step into a different kind of power than we have shown previously, Not, no, I want to retract that. Not that we have shown. I think we are stepping into that power not because we have never had it and we've never, like, we have always had it. We just have existed in a society that didn't allow us to step into it and used every resource to shut us up, to make us feel small, to make us compliant. And those structures still very much exist within society at large, but we just don't give a fuck anymore. And now we're like, fine. Again, we're burning things down. Like, it is, so we are stepping into that power in a new way than our generation has really stepped into it before. Because we were trained. We were trained to be good girls. Be a good girl. What does being a good girl look like? And I think that we're using our voices in a new way, and I think our partners, who are men, are watching that and maybe don't really know what to do with it. Honestly, like, I think even my dad doesn't know what to do with it. Watching, like, who knows if he's gonna listen to this, but like, I think I freak him out. I think I think that me putting myself in more exposed, vulnerable positions has to be really uncomfortable for the people who love us and who have been trained and conditioned to protect us. And maybe they don't know what to do with it.
I can see that. I think that it's been now enough months and even years that he's getting used to it at least.
Yeah.
Like, he expects this. This isn't like what did you do here? Oh, here comes another shirt.
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
it's not, out of the ordinary. And I think that we've raised our kids this way too. So even they're not surprised. It's just, this is a norm for us. And I'm okay with it. I'm
And
more than okay with it.
maybe that's the privilege that we have because we are in an environment where we have partners who are allowing us the space to whatever this looks like we're going on this journey together. And I can see how a lot of people might not have that same space to step into it, and maybe they're watching, maybe they're fully aware, but maybe they are not as safe to step into it.
And so I wonder,
Possibly.
how do we help make that safe?
Great
Because I
question.
know that there are women who are married to men who they think the opposite way. And there was, oh my gosh, I'm going to blank on the book, but the author was here. Hold on. It's a pink book. Women Are Angry. Jennifer Cox. She
Ooh.
came in from London, and we did book club in my kitchen last year. And this was a question that came up of, why can't women leave? And
Mm.
I have a therapist friend, Kate, who said, because there's a whole multitude of reasons, besides comfort. There's the risk of, like, well, how do you do it and make it okay? You have children. How, there's a fear, there's a comfort, there's all of these things. So how do we connect with these other women to say, we are a safe place, safe space, you can feel this way, but how do we also help them, whether it's get out of that situation or continue in it and function while struggling? That's a big struggle. I'm very blessed that I'm not in that situation, that I don't have to go, oh, my husband doesn't believe that I am his equal.
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend, a good friend who has become very vocal in terms of politics and is using social media, and she was engaging her husband, in these political conversations. She didn't know who he voted for. She knows now, but because she stepped into this voice and this power and this strength that she has, she's getting a divorce now. And so I think for women like my friend, who, when you use your voice, it's going to make things uncomfortable and it's going to force some conversations and some realizations that maybe if you're not using your voice, you can kind of assume like, well, I don't know who he voted for. Maybe he voted third party. Maybe it's fine. And the more that you use your voice and the more that you double down on your own values and morality and recognize that you have a partner who doesn't align with those values, that's a real mind fuck. And so I think for a lot of people, stepping into being vocal might also mean you lose your marriage, because not because the husband is going to say like, well, if you're going to be this loud liberal, I'm going to divorce you, but because using your voice, doubling down on your activism is going to highlight where you are misaligned in different relationships within your family, your friend group, and your marriage. So that's a scary thing. That's a terrifying thing.
It's so not our household. Like we discuss everything. So for us not to know who voted for who or on what, and we don't always align, but when it's really big, we certainly do. When I say we don't align, it's more like, well, do you think this bond is really good? Are you really up for that tax? It's more of that. It's not a, oh, this one has morals and this one doesn't. So let's split those votes. And yet we talk about it all. So it's foreign to me to not have such a conversation with your partner because we
Right.
talk about everything. It's
And
like
that's
watching Real Housewives, and when the woman goes on vacation with all of these batshit crazy women, and then a week later it's like, so let me tell you about my trip. And I'm going, a week later, like, how did you not just tell him on the way home from the airport? And why is he not informed like while you're on vacation? Like that baffles me. That's just not how it works here.
and it's just another layer, like maybe that's another layer of the privilege that we have, and that we can use our voices because we're in marriages that allow space for that. But I mean, I'll be honest, like I married I married somebody who our first fight, we got married in 2008. Our first fight in a really big explosive way was about voting for Obama or not. And and when you said earlier, like when you get to 80, what did you regret? My one big regret is we lived in Chicago and I did not go to Grant
Me
Park.
too. Me too. I
Biggest
lived in
regret.
Chicago too. And
Yeah.
same.
I sat on the floor. I could hear it from our house or from our apartment. I could hear the crowd swell. And I didn't go because I didn't have anybody to go with. And I, as a woman, didn't feel safe because I mean that
And
many
if
people, I just
only
didn't.
we knew each other.
I know.
I was in Logan Square off Humboldt Boulevard, so it was like a few train stops to Grant
I was
Park.
in I was in West Town. Yeah.
If
I
only.
I know. I know. I think like I the when my husband and I met, I had just voted for George W. Bush. Um I had just moved to Chicago from Indiana. I was in my evangelical era, or I was on the way out of my evangelical era. And he was the like the I call him the Beav because he's like Beaver Cleaver. He's this like quintessential like good guy, and I I was in this Republican moment and he was definitely conservative, and that was everything I was kind of directing my life toward at the time. And so we have had to navigate this complete shift and what that looks like within our marriage. But also, he was starting to go further left when we met too. So it wasn't just me. It was he was in this, we were both in these, like we met each other as Republicans and conservatives and religious, and then now we both have gone left for our own different reasons. But trying to navigate that within our marriage has been really interesting.
Yeah.
So
Because in
without
those 20s, those are formidable years in which you grow, and you don't realize it when you're in your 20s. You're like, I'm good. And then you hit 40, and you're like, oh shit, it's a good thing we made it.
Totally. Absolutely. Well, and back to the good girl thing. I mean, we're taught to be good girls. We're taught to be polite. We're taught not to talk about politics, not to talk about religion, not to talk about money, all of these things, and make everybody else comfortable, even if you are dying inside. And I think that there are women who are like, fuck that, not doing it. See, now today, episode 2, I'm the one saying fuck every other word. But there are women who are like, fuck that, not doing that anymore. We're burning it down. And then there are women who that conditioning still very much exists. And so they're doing the good girl, nice, polite thing. But that is the very thing that has allowed us to get to this place in the first place.
Yeah. We need
It's
to
that.
it's fun. I've noticed that there's a lot of uncomfortable conversations. And if I know that the conversation is coming up, like I put it in my head of like, oh wow, this is gonna suck. I don't want to do this. And here we go. And then it happens. I'm like, oh, it wasn't so bad. Okay, I've got this. And it's much easier to just be in the moment and have it happen than it is to go, okay, I know this is coming. How am I going to navigate this? How am I going to show up and get my point across, without offending everybody or pissing people off or, walking away as, oh, she's the bitch. Because I feel like that. I'm like, oh, I speak my mind. So I bet that I bet the school moms think that I'm just the bitch.
But like, are we saying that about men who speak their minds? Like, of course not. They're powerful.
Right. And yet at the same time, like, I saw somebody posted the other day, like, where are the husbands? Where are the men? Where are the husbands? Why aren't they showing up? But at the same time, I wonder, like, are we in our little bubble where we just see it's all the algorithms? So there could be a whole bunch of dads who are doing exactly what we are, and we're just not privy to that because the algorithm's like, no, don't show them that. You know, where are those ones? Because there is no like dadfluencers really. And the ones that I have seen, it's like the adorable video of like, I'm holding my child to let him know that he has emotions. It's okay. So he doesn't become a Republican. So those dadfluencers are showing up.
Yeah. Well, and also maybe part of this is like women can lead. Women should lead
Mhm.
because I think that we have a different sense of urgency because we are well aware of the stakes, and not that men aren't, but I think that maybe men are letting women lead in the same way that as a white woman I'm going to defer to women of color. I'm going to defer specifically to black women in a lot of cases because they have a different sense of generationally like how bad it can be than. So I think maybe they're letting us lead because they know that we can and we should.
I think you bring up a great point is that we need to listen more to others and their stories and their experiences because when we don't do that, we can't understand other people and we need to listen. That's what's lacking is tell me your story. Tell me why this makes you feel the way it does. Tell me your experience. That's the only way that we're going to understand, learn, and then figure out how to move forward and fight for one another.
And I think that that is how we keep humanity
Hmm.
at the forefront because not hearing other people's stories is how we are able to dehumanize others. And I'm seeing that a lot. I don't know if you're seeing this, but I'm seeing it a lot in my comment section, where it is much easier for people to dehumanize me in these last few weeks. And they're aggressive. It's getting more aggressive. And I think the intention is if if I can dehumanize this person who's sharing her story, then I'm going to shut her up because I don't have to face it. I don't have to look at it because what she's saying is making me uncomfortable. And so instead of people being aggressive, turning it into, okay, fine, I'm just not going to share my story, I'm going to post twice as much as I did. Oh, you don't, I made you uncomfortable at a party. I'm just going to be louder and come and talk about it on a podcast. Like, I think, I think that if we double down on humanity and sharing our stories, then that is, we just have to keep doubling down. We have to keep doubling down on humanity and and showing up, because they are doubling down on cognitive dissonance, on willful ignorance, on ignoring how bad it's going just because it makes them so uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to have that reckoning. So if they're going to double down on that, then we have to double down on forcing people to pay attention and forcing people to see us as humans.
Mm, I like that.
Come to my TED Talk. I don't have a TED Talk. I just feel like I'm just like soapboxing it over here.
I love it. I love it. It's what we need to do.
Yeah. I have a lot of opinions about it.
That's why we have the show.
I mean, I think we can be kind. We don't have to be mean. We can do it with kindness, but also it's not kind what they are doing. Like, you can be like, there are people in my life who are nice to me in person. They'll see me, they'll be pleasant, they'll smile at me, but they will immediately go talk about how crazy they think I am. They will immediately post things that are like pro pedophile, pro Epstein, like in a like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, you're just crazy libtard. Like, there are people who will be nice to me in person and then go post that shit on the internet and think that I don't see it. Or they will like a post and they don't think that I see them liking those things. So there's a difference between being nice to somebody's face and then going and turning around and then just actually saying, no, I don't, like, you don't have righteousness on your side.
Yeah.
And I will say that to your face.
Yeah. Being nice and polite, you don't get a pass for being a bigot, racist, pedophile, felon lover. They just don't mix. You can't be nice and believe that snatching innocent people off the street is okay. You can't be nice and think that a woman doesn't have a right to her body. You can't be nice and think that taking someone's vote away is okay. The list can go on, but that's not nice. It's not kind. It's not nice. It's not kind. And I think that people, going back to this, oh, I'm a Christian and this is what I believe. And there was a comment war the other day where this woman goes, do you know how many unborn babies' lives I've saved by my stance? And I said, great. And how many lives have you ruined because they couldn't afford to take care of the baby, because there's no daycare for the baby, because there's a whole list of things that you helped enable that hurt that child, that hurt that mother, that hurt future generations. And she goes, well, what? So I should be responsible for all of the babies that women couldn't close their legs for? I'm 61 and I've managed to only have 2 pregnancies. That's not Christian or kind or nice, because it's not the woman's fault.
And further, I think that highlights the way that there is so much shame around, specifically within Christianity, but like society in general. There is shame about women having sex, about pleasure, but also like shame about them not being able to meet some sort of impossible standard. There's just so much shame, and they're so fast to put it out on everybody when maybe they are wrestling with their own shame. Maybe they should turn that reflection in on themselves and understand why they feel so driven to control women's bodies, to because like even if we're talking about a like the idea I'm sorry, I'm so keyed up about
I went at it. I was supposed to be shoveling rocks from the front yard to the backyard, and I had to pause to check if this woman replied, and I was going at it. My husband's like, are you with me? Are we finishing the rocks? I'm like, yeah, but I just got to tell this woman it's not okay. It fires me up because I had a miscarriage. My first pregnancy was a miscarriage, and I had to have a DNC. It's the same procedure as an abortion. And let me tell you, it was the most miserable thing of my life to think that any woman chooses to do this as a convenience over and over and over again. You must be out of your fucking mind. There was nothing pleasurable, there was nothing convenient. It was the worst thing imaginable. So for anybody who's like, oh, well, I'm pro-life and this is it because, everyone's just going out there and having an abortion. Oh, hell no. It was miserable. It put me into a depression for months. So for someone to go, well, it's the woman's fault. No, just no.
no. I mean, and I remember having that thought when I was in my like anti-choice evangelical moment in college. I remember taking pleasure in knowing that I'd heard a rumor. I didn't know anything. I'd heard a rumor that a girl who was mean to me in high school, that she was using Plan B as birth control, and I felt so superior to her. And I was like, oh, she's using medicated abortion. I had no concept of what Plan B even is. Like I didn't, and I developed this entire story that she was a slut, that she was having medicated abortions instead of being responsible. And like I came up with this whole narrative because it made me feel better. It made me feel superior to her. And I am that is the shame that I have. I am ashamed that I ever was in that headspace. But like I know the headspace that these people are in right now because I was in it. To live in a world where you feel better because you are able to cast judgment on others, it really just comes from my own sense of self-worth, and my own self-esteem was so broken and so miserable that was the only way that I could find to make myself feel better, was to judge others. And I think we're just seeing that on like such a big scale, and it's right in front of us all the time, like on the internet, in comments. And I think people forget that the things that they say about others, it's really just a reflection on their own sadness, brokenness, lack of self-worth. Because if you really did value yourself, you would be able to value other people and approach with curiosity instead of judgment.
Took us to church. Forget your TED Talk. We just went to church.
Church. I mean, I wasn't evangelical for a minute.
Preach. Keep preaching. I love it.
We're
I
going
love
to
it.
church. Yeah. Gosh, like I hope that I know that none of these women are going to actually listen to this podcast. Maybe some.
You never know. You never know. They could think
But, like,
that with the cover art, it looks like we're going into hell or something. So they might think that they need to help us, and then they'll tune in.
they probably do. I mean, I have family that definitely thinks, like, we stopped talking because every conversation we had, it was all about, like, I want to be in heaven with you, and this is the way. Like, if you do these things, then you can go to heaven. And one of those things was me advocating for democratic policies and ideals, as opposed to being all excited about Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court because of all the babies they're going to save. You're not pro-life if you only care about abortions. If it stops there, if you are not willing to go further into the services that that baby will need to have a healthy, thriving life, then you are not pro-life. And I don't know how to make that clear to people.
And I think pro-life extends beyond babies, like people in general. Do you want everyone to be equally having a nice life, fed, being able to have a house over their heads? That is what pro-life is to want the same for everybody, that everyone deserves to be healthy, to be happy, to practice their own religion. Like, this is pro-life to me, to love who they want to love, to be who they want to be, to use the pronoun they want to use. It does not harm you. This is what I don't understand. This does not harm you. If I want you to refer to me as she, what the hell do you care?
Somebody literally just replied to a comment of mine yesterday because I have she, her in my Instagram bio. And their only response was she, her with like weird capitalizations, like making
I've
fun of
gotten
me.
that
Yeah.
many times. Yes, I've gotten made fun of what my title is for what I do for a living. Yeah, that I must not know anything. It's cute.
Like, how does it? Yeah. And I think that I kind of wish we could like reclaim the phrase pro life, because if you are like pro life is a lovely thing to be if pro life is everything that you just said. If pro life is like right now I'm working on a gala and a promo edit for a client who works on mental health services and delivering food to families who are underserved and under resourced, and that's pro life to me.
Hmm. I think that we see an Instagram post coming with a collab
We
between
do.
us two. So get ready, people.
I think we do.
I think we do.
This also brings up something I wrote yesterday. There's freedom to and there's freedom from. So when you say freedom, how are you picturing freedom? I picture it as freedom from oppression, freedom from violence, freedom from discrimination. That is what freedom from forced religion. But there are people who view freedom as freedom to oppress, to discriminate, to judge. Like they want the freedom to basically cause harm and not have any consequences for that. So it's a different kind of freedom. We need to reclaim freedom and pro-life, because I don't think that those words actually apply to the party that seems to try to package it up and sell it.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay. Did we burn it down for the week? Are we
I think we
good?
did. I feel like I need to light a candle after that.
We're going to sage the show after every show, everyone.
Got my little evil eye witchy candle. All right, candle.
All right, let's go burn it down. And I feel burnt out. Like, I don't want to say burnt out. Like, we need to make it positive.
Yeah. We're going to go to burn it. Whoa. The flames are flaming. I'm going to burn it down without actual fire in Chicago. I'm going to use that privilege, that ability to show up and be present in every scenario that I can, because I'm pro-life. So that's what I'm going to burn down.
I'm going to go burn down Canva and create some new graphics to inform and educate, because I'm very far behind. But yeah, and I'm going to go reach out to some more candidates so we can get these politicians on board. That's my plan. Until next week, my friend.
Yep. I can't wait to see how everybody else burns it down in the meantime.